There's a place in Las Vegas with more going on than meets the eye. It isn't new, it's not trendy, it's not Vegas flash. But for decades, it's quietly built a following, serving the kind of food locals don't brag about. Because once others find out, it won't stay a secret. So we went through the full menu to see what's really here. Welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. I'm a chef and former restaurant owner, and I tell it like it is. Okay, let's see how deep this really goes. Yes, don't check your television. You heard that right. Cheeseburger soup. One bite in, and the name makes perfect sense. Everything here is made from scratch, and this is one of those dishes that tells you that immediately. This is Lake's Lounge, tucked away a little off the main path with that old school Vegas feel. Bar top video poker, locals at the counter, yet a bit more intimate as the dining area has its own dedicated space. And this is the kind of soup that immediately earns a repeat order. And any day it shows up as the soup du jour, I'm getting it. Real butter, fresh melty cheese, and heavy cream. Proper ingredients, handled the right way. It's loaded with rich, fresh ground beef that permeates every bite. The creamy base is filled with a proper mix of fresh carrots, celery, and potatoes, all tied together with a subtle leek note that adds depth without stealing the spotlight. Okay, what a strong start. I originally found out about Lake's Lounge when I started asking people a very specific question. Where can you get the best mid-range steak in Las Vegas? Now I understand why this place kept coming up. This is an Instagram-worthy bite of perfectly beautiful beef. I'd clone this bite if I could. I ordered it rare, and what came out was exactly that. No negotiating, no explaining, no disappointment. This steak delivers. It's tender, juicy, and packed with that rich, smoky flavor that only a hot, open-fire grill can give you. The seasoning is simple and confident, just salt and pepper. Because with meat this good, all you really need is a proper kiss of fire. This cut is what they used to call the baseball cut. Thick and hearty, it's the kind of steak you can cook black and blue, deeply seared on the outside, beautifully rare in the center, without losing its juiciness. How many of you remember that term, black and blue? Let me know in the comments. The sides hold their own. The vegetables are fresh, not frozen, real carrots in yellow and orange, along with broccoli and cauliflower, all nicely seasoned with fresh garlic, salt, and pepper. And yes, real butter. Potatoes are tremendous, made the right way. Lots of butter and heavy cream. The garlic mashed potatoes are exactly what they should be. Rich, smooth, and deeply comforting. But the star of this plate is the steak. A tender, unapologetic throwback to the steaks of the 80s and straight into my childhood. This is honest, no-nonsense steakhouse cooking at a price that feels almost nostalgic. So that cheeseburger soup was clearly no fluke. And you've got my undivided attention. You get your choice of soup or salad, and I usually go for the soup. The made-from-scratch soups are pure comfort. Today was minestrone, loaded with beans, vegetables, and pasta cooked just right. The broth is deep, rich, and full of flavor. Nothing thin or bland about it. I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of chicken parm. Thinking back, it's one of my earliest food memories. I later went on to make and serve it at my own restaurant, so yes, I'm pretty picky. So I'll be honest, I expected to be underwhelmed, but this one surprised me in the best way. The sauce tastes fresh because it is fresh and homemade. The chicken is a large pounded breast, breaded and fried until golden, still tender and juicy inside. Yes, they serve it over pasta, and no, real Italians don't usually do that, but when it tastes this good, I'm not complaining. It also comes with garlic bread, nothing special, but perfect for absorbing any leftover sauce. I loved it, and I'm proud to recommend this dish. But now I'm starting to wonder how deep this place really goes. Well, if you want to see how deep we go, subscribe, because on YouTube, about 60% of people watching any video aren't. And that's what keeps us going this deep. This time, to mix things up, I started with a small salad. I chose a citrus vinegar dressing. In hindsight, that was the wrong call. I should have stayed with the minestrone. It was phenomenal. The salad itself didn't do much for me. Our server said he loved the dressing. Of course, he failed to mention he finds baby food delicious. To my taste, the dressing was bland, lacking any punch. In other words, I hated it, and it's something I wouldn't order again. Now on to the chicken fried chicken, and this is where things get very good. It's wonderful. Honestly, it may be one of the best in the city. The gravy deserves real praise. It's made with actual cream and butter, plus plenty of drippings from the chicken. It tastes exactly like something you'd get on a weekend trip to Grandma's house. Full comfort mode. This isn't some rehashed version of the chicken parm I just had. This dish is made with real intent, thought, heart, and soul. The breading is excellent, and it makes me confident their fried chicken is a must-order as well. Most of you know there's a very special place in my heart reserved for anything involving fried chicken. And the chicken itself is high quality, very fresh tasting, and clearly brined. It's tender, juicy, and not dry. It's seasoned so well you won't even think about reaching for salt. This is the real deal. It normally comes with mashed potatoes, but I subbed garlic fries, and I regret nothing. They're ridiculously good. So much garlic, I'll be scaring off vampires for days. The vegetables are solid. I won't pretend they're life-altering, but they're fresh and sautéed in real butter and garlic, which already puts them ahead of the curve. This place isn't letting up. Now these bring back serious nostalgia for me. When I was a kid, potato skins were the rage. They were at their peak back then. Today they've gone the way of ramaki. You almost never see them on menus anymore, and that's exactly why I had to order them. I remember when restaurants bought frozen potato skins in bags. They were small, basic, and purely functional. These are the complete opposite. They've never been frozen and are made from large, fresh potatoes that are hollowed out by hand. What really sold me is the surprise hiding within. After the first bite, you realize there's a second layer under the melted cheese. That lower level is packed with freshly made minced bacon. Not a sprinkle, a full dense layer. The cheddar and bacon combo just works. The tomatoes, chopped scallions, and sour cream add a pop of freshness and help cut through the richness. Not that I'm complaining. I love heavy, fatty food. But balance matters, and they nailed it here. Let's start with the fries, because they deserve top billing. These are magnificent. Some of the best fries in Las Vegas. I'm officially a member of the Steak Fry Fan Club, and these thick-cut beauties are outrageously good. Crispy, deeply browned, and audibly crunchy when you bite in, yet soft and creamy on the inside. This is fryer perfection for true potato aficionados. They're well seasoned, right on the edge without tipping over. Honestly, they don't need a thing. Now the New York steak sandwich itself is a mixed bag. The flavor is absolutely there. Bold, beefy, that unmistakable umami richness you only get from steak. But today, the steak is a little tough and chewy, which makes it nearly impossible to eat as an actual sandwich. I tried, I really did. Picking it up was an exercise in wishful thinking. And while the taste delivers, the texture fights you every step of the way. I like my steak sandwiches simple. Red onion, tomato, and a little yellow mustard. I've had the steaks here before, and they're quite good. But I can only report on what's in front of me today. And today, this one just doesn't quite come together. At $10.99, it sounds like a bargain. But as my dad always said, if it's not good, it's not a bargain. Still, those fries, I'd come back for those alone at Lake's Lounge. So it's not perfect, but that actually makes the hits matter even more. At this point, we've seen a lot, but this is the one people plan around. We started with the Caesar salad, which comes as a $1.99 upgrade. But is it the best? No. In a city like Las Vegas, where truly great Caesars are around every corner, this is a letdown, to say the least. It lacks real anchovy depth, that punch of garlic, and the bright hit of lemon that makes this classic sing. Personally, I'd skip the Caesar and go straight for the soups, which are far stronger. Now, onto the star of the plate, the prime rib. And yes, it's absolutely worth waiting until Saturday. You don't have a choice anyway, since that's the only day they serve it. But trust me, it's worth planning around. This prime rib is spectacular. As always, I ordered it rare, and they honored that without hesitation. The fat cap is where prime rib earns its reputation, and this one has an excellent meat-to-fat ratio. It's the best part of this cut. Beautifully seasoned with coarse salt and crushed black pepper, deeply caramelized, bold, and unapologetically rich. The meat is so tender you can get away with using just a butter knife. And speaking of butter, the beef itself is nearly buttery in flavor. Soft, rich, and luxurious without being greasy. This is the kind of prime rib that feels like it deserves its own marquee on the Las Vegas Strip. Or at least, a star on the Walk of Fame. The green beans are the familiar frozen variety you'll find at many classic Vegas spots like Ellis Island. I do prefer fresh vegetables, but I know a lot of our viewers genuinely love this ubiquitous treatment. Here they're punched up with plenty of garlic and butter, which puts them a step above the usual version in my book. The baked potato is excellent and reminds me of the ones at the old school prime rib houses, heavily encrusted with rock salt. The salt infuses the potato with flavor and creates a crispy, addictive skin that elevates the whole experience. I asked for cheddar cheese because that's how I love it, and the portion is so generous it practically is a meal on its own. The whipped butter melts beautifully into the flesh of the potato, soaking into every bite. This prime rib alone is reason enough to plan a Saturday visit to Lakes Lounge. It's classic, confident, and deeply satisfying. Exactly what prime rib is supposed to be. Well, at this point, we thought we had this place figured out, but we didn't stop there. I hadn't realized it, but Lakes Lounge boasts that their fish and chips is one of the best you'll ever taste, and is a house specialty for over 35 years. Well, that's a bold claim, so naturally, we had to see about that. Until now, the best fish and chips I've had in Vegas came from Rira Irish Pub, and if you love fish and chips and Vegas bargains, you should absolutely check out that video. Well, these are a thing of beauty, and massive. I don't know if the camera fully captures it, but these pieces are huge. Made with fresh cold water cod, they're dipped in a beer batter that achieves that magical balance only beer can deliver. Light, airy, and crisp without heaviness. The interior is flaky, moist, and clean tasting, not fishy in the slightest. The batter is the real deal here. Shatteringly crisp, seasoned perfectly, and when you bite into it, loud in the best possible way. Practically fractures under your teeth. You already know how I feel about the fries here. An absolute delight. I'm also a fan of the house-made ranch. Creamy, lightly tart, and a great companion to those potatoes. The tartar sauce is homemade and instantly reminds me of my mom's. Balanced, comforting, and exactly what tartar sauce should be. No weird shortcuts, no distractions. As much as I love the fish and chips at Rira, today they may have met their match. These are every bit as good and may very well be some of the best fish and chips I've had on this side of the pond. With zero hesitation, I recommend them, and I can't wait to hear what you all think. Does this place ever run out of hits? I come from a long line of fried chicken-loving Southerners. My parents practically weaned me on it. Wherever I see this on the menu, I'm compelled to order it. So here we go. And this is another Lakes Lounge triumph. The menu says it's as homemade as you can get. And for once, that's not marketing fluff. Fresh chicken is breaded and fried using their own uniquely classic Southern-style recipe, the very thing they've been known for over the years. Just look at this leg. It's a showstopper. Flo Ziegfeld himself would have paired these legs with the finest gams in the Follies. The crust is sensational, deeply golden, shatteringly crisp, and loaded with flavor. It instantly reminds me of the kind of fried chicken you'd find at a roadside diner somewhere along a long southern highway, the kind you remember decades later. There's real thought behind this dish. The chicken has been brined, which makes all the difference. Moist, tender, and juicy all the way through. The seasoning is spot on and generous. There's salt on the table, but you'll never feel the need to touch it. The potatoes are creamy, buttery, and indulgent without crossing into heavy or overtly rich territory. They're exactly what you want next to fried chicken. And then there's the gravy. I asked for it on the side, and I highly recommend you do the same. It's deeply savory and luxuriously creamy. It's fantastic on the potatoes. Spoon it over the chicken, and you unlock a whole new level of indulgence. This dish is gold. You're going to have to try it. Baked fresh to order, this chicken pot pie instantly took me back to my grandmother's kitchen. The kind of dish that doesn't just feed your appetite, it feeds the soul and comforts you. Break through the flaky homemade crust, and you're greeted by a filling that comes out lava hot. Seriously, hot in the face of the sun. Let it cool for a minute before diving in, or you'll learn that lesson the hard way, as I did. Large, generous chunks of tender white meat chicken are packed throughout, making every bite feel substantial and deeply satisfying. Once it settles, the payoff is worth the wait. The sauce is rich and luxurious, made from real cream and butter, and you can taste that quality in every mouthful. It's velvety without being heavy, coating the chicken and vegetables perfectly. The seasoning is spot on, pushed right to the edge, with plenty of carrots, peas, and just enough celery to give it depth without overpowering the dish. There's a reason Lake's Lounge is famous for this pot pie. It's classic, indulgent, and executed with care. Old school comfort food done exactly the way it should be. I could eat this anytime, and you better believe I'll be back for it soon. Honestly, you will too. This is love at first bite. And at this point, I'm not even surprised anymore. While we were filming, I noticed the gentleman at the next table, watching with a smile. He politely asked what we were doing and then introduced himself. "My name's Carl Codger, as in old," he said. Then came the advice, delivered with absolute conviction.
"Don't miss the apple cobbler. My wife Minnie and I used to come here once a week just for that."
Well, Carl, thank you for the stellar recommendation. This apple cobbler is a hit, and it's not to be missed. Made from scratch in the kitchen at Lake's Lounge, it arrives hot from the oven, filling the table with warm notes of nutmeg and cinnamon before you even take a bite. Tender apples are baked throughout, soft and caramelized, wrapped in sweet, comforting goodness from edge to edge. This is one of the best cobblers I've ever eaten, full stop. It's topped with cold vanilla bean ice cream that slowly melts into the hot cobbler, creating something close to a creme anglaise right on the plate. A rich, silky sauce born from the contrast of hot and cold, crisp and tender, sweet without being cloying. This is comfort food at its finest. Carl was right. Don't miss it. Next, we tried another homemade dessert, a classic, pineapple upside-down cake. Tastes as though it came straight out of Grandma's kitchen. It's not trying to be fancy or modern. This is down-home, old-school baking. The kind of dessert that's more than just something sweet at the end of a meal. It's a slice of Americana served warm on a plate. The cake is moist, tender, and properly sweet without being over the top. The pineapple is caramelized beautifully, soaking into the cake and giving it that familiar, comforting flavor that fans of this classic dessert know and love. If you're a pineapple upside-down cake person, you're going to love it here. And honestly, the only way it could be any better is with a scoop of vanilla bean ice cream on the side, which I'll absolutely be ordering next time. We finished up with the last dessert on the menu. After all, why not give them all a shot? This is what they call chocolate brownie thing. Given the theme here, I'm sure this is an old family recipe. But in this case, I think the family member responsible could have figured out a way to burn water. Putting it politely, it's not the best brownie I've ever had. I've been coming here for years, and their desserts are generally not to be missed. Most of them anyway. If you're a true chocoholic, I don't think you'll find this memorable, nor dream about ordering it again. But that's not really the story here at Lake's Lounge. After 2 full days of eating our way through the menu, one thing is very clear. Lake's Lounge isn't chasing trends, clout, or social media buzz. This is a place built on consistency, scratch cooking, and knowing exactly who they are. Some dishes shine brighter than others, and we've been honest about that. But the highs here are very high. From soups that feel like a warm handshake, to steaks cooked the way steaks used to be, to fried chicken and prime rib that could anchor a menu all on their own, this is comfort food done with confidence and restraint. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just real ingredients, real technique, and recipes that have earned their place over decades. So if you're looking for flashy plates and viral moments, this probably isn't your spot. But if you want honest, made-from-scratch comfort food at prices that still make sense in Las Vegas, Lakes Lounge deserves a place on your list. Just don't tell too many people. Well, we'll be back to Lakes Lounge very soon. In fact, I've been here twice since filming already. Who knows? Maybe you'll see us here. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you.
Carl was right. Don't miss it.
Oh my.
If you like spots like this, real food, no hype, check this one out right here. And this one, I think you'll like it as well. If you enjoyed this video, liking, subscribing, or commenting helps us bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit.